Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is Debbie Coffey, and I'd like to talk to Senator Rhodes and Leigh too when they're finished. Thank you. I heard people earlier talking about, Mr. Drew mentioned a thriving ecological balance, and I heard other people use things like the horses using water sources and riparian areas and ranges capability and good resources. Well, I think just even mentioning wild horses and water issues is a little bit like swatting flies when you have a stampede of elephants coming towards you. Because what I see is next month, there are 2,080,000 acres in Nevada are going to be opened up to oil and gas drilling. And this is in addition to the 288,000 acres that have gone for that in the last couple of years. And knowing how much water is used for that, how much water is used in mining, I know we have some representatives from the Southern Nevada Water Authority here today at this committee meeting, and I know from being at the Division of Water Resources here, they're going to be having September and October, they're going to be having water rights hearings there. I mean, the little bit of water a horse drinks compared to all of this, you can see how it just seems very out of balance, and I hope that you would just consider protecting our wild horses and their water. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you sign in by chance?
I did, and I signed in to speak.
Okay.
My name is Debbie Coffey.
I'm looking, but...
Yeah, I was on one of the first sheets.
Okay. I don't have an order anymore.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Leigh, and I'm the founder of Wild Horse Education, and I did sign in to speak, and I'm a resident of the state of Nevada. There's a couple of things I'd like to address. Mr. Drew and I have spoken before and addressed some issues about AML and what that means. I have spent the last year and a half out on the range and actually documenting the wild horses, particularly here in the state of Nevada. The idea that wild horses are overpopulated and over AML in this state is fiction. We've had several examples of that occur in this state with BLM roundups. One example is an HMA, herd management area called Clan Alpine. They had scheduled a roundup, and before that we went out and did some survey work. The number of horses that were claimed were on that land were not present, and that roundup was called off. We've had several roundups occur in this state and that are on the schedule of areas that are not over AML, but where birth control is going to be utilized in order to keep them under AML. Again, in Antelope this past winter, we had a huge roundup out in Ely and Elko. And again, that area, the horses pre-roundup did not demonstrate the being over AML, they were under AML. So this AML, horses overpopulated over AML, it is a fiction. It's one of the things being addressed currently in the federal government. There's a lot of talk right now at the DOI and BLM about repatriating horses into areas where they have been removed but are legally allowed under 71 legislation. In those areas, new permits for water would need to be, they would need water in those areas. For the state of Nevada, and all of you take an oath when you take your chair to uphold the Constitution of the state of Nevada. The state of Nevada gives over the authority to the federal government to determine protocol and policy. For you to determine what the federal government, the definitions for beneficial use on public land, on federal land, is a violation, in my opinion, of the Constitution of the state of Nevada. And I really think this legislation needs to be looked at very carefully before any step is made, because as a resident of the state of Nevada, I find it really out of line in many ways. Thank you.
Do you have any questions of the panel? Seeing none, thank you very much for your testimony.
Good afternoon. My name is Kimberly Rhodemyre. It's spelled Rhodenyre. I'm a Nevada resident, long time Nevada resident. And it's a shame that the other senators are not able to be here to finish up with this committee, but I guess we'll hope to change your minds. Assemblyman Gokachi has stated that this bill is to clarify beneficial use for the federal government. But that is not what this bill says. I didn't see that anywhere in this bill. Excuse me, I'm recovering from bronchitis. I was not able to attend the assembly hearing on March 30th with the Committee on Government Affairs. I was able to catch it online, and several things were very clear. The first was that several of the committee members seemed to think that the language in the bill was just a simple matter of clarification. I must say that the cattle lobby was there in force to encourage that thinking. That is not the way I or any number of my friends and neighbors have interpreted this language. It states very clearly that any other animal, reptile, or thing that lives in the water, whether it's raised in captivity or not, except a wild horse or burro, is wildlife. I'm frankly flabbergasted by the fact that in the bill it says that even if the wildlife is someone's pet, as long as it's not a wild horse or burro, which by definition are born wild, these other animals can be listed as wildlife, but not wild horses or burros. According to Nevada water law that I've researched, NRS 533.023, wildlife purpose defined, states, wildlife purposes include the watering of wildlife and the establishment and maintenance of wetlands, fisheries, and other wildlife habitats, forgive me. The defining message in that statement is the watering of wildlife. I find it interesting that there are over 7 statutes in Nevada water law governing the watering of livestock. However, I can only find one mention of wildlife in the Nevada water law, and if I'm wrong, please let me know, because I tried to read that whole thing.
Oh my God.
I know.
Wow.
The only mention of wildlife I could find was in this one statute. So conclusions can be made that the cattle lobby in this state work very hard for their customers. To me, that includes making sure that they take the steps necessary for wild horses and burros to be removed completely and forever from the state of Nevada. Nevada water law overview states that Nevada water law is based on 2 fundamental concepts: prior appropriations and beneficial use. The prior appropriation is also known as the first in time, first in right. In this area, it says nothing about the first in time as having to be first people. To me, you don't get much more first in time than the wild horses and burros of Nevada. I think everyone can honestly say that the wild horses and burros of Nevada were here long, long before cattle ranchers. During the assembly hearing, it was brought up by those in opposition that having wild horses and burros specifically exempted from the definition of wildlife would be the first step to making sure that wild horses and burros will have no designation except wild horses and burros, thereby leaving them open to law interpretation that they are not entitled to space to live in Nevada. They are no longer wildlife and would never be classified as livestock.
Yes.
I see this clearly in the bill, and so do others. But of course, the cattle lobby made sure that those who testified in opposition did not understand the law, or we are just making a language change, or we would never fence off all the water in the state, or laughably, the biggest lie, we would never try to remove all the horses. They were basically trying to make the very real and very current concerns of wild horse advocates seem incredulous. But we here all know that the cattle lobby strives for this end. There is proof on the internet, a video of ranchers telling advocates during one of the many roundups that took place last year that wild horses and burros need to be in outbow cans. There was an elephant in the room during the assembly hearing that no one brought up. What is going to happen if a rancher complains that he thinks that wild horses and burros are drinking too much state water from land being leased by the federal government? Public land that has state water on it. If they are not labeled wildlife and they would never be considered livestock, where is their protection under state law? According to the Farm Bureau that testified earlier, only 1,100 horses are allowed to drink in the state.
Wow.
So you know what will happen. That herd will be removed, and it will go on, and it will go on, and it will go on. So step 1 in removing wild horses and burros forever off of Nevada land. Please do not remove the designation of wildlife from Nevada wild horses and burros. Thank you.
Amen.
I don't know what you do for a living, but if you read water law in Nevada, we might need to hire you in this building. Give you a lot of credit.
It was pretty boring.
Okay, thank you. Ma'am?